Welcome back to the 21-day Velo plan. If you guys haven't already watched the first video, we overview everything and outline and give you homework and step-by-step instructions to get moving and to get momentum. And if you want to be a dog, you'll take this seriously and you'll go back and watch video 1. Because those cats out there who don't have the dog mentality will skip around and try this one and try that one. And that's the same reason that your current program and your current plan with your current coach or your current video you found online is not working. And that's why it'll continue to not work. So this video is meant to be watched after the first one. And it's meant for the dogs who are taking this seriously. So let's go ahead and hop in, because hopefully if you're still here, you're a dog, you're taking it seriously, and you want your velocity to go up. You want it to be easier. You want it to be less effort and stress on your arm, and you want to last longer in games and not plateau and fall off a cliff. So day 2, hopefully you've got your journal. You're going to need it. Take as many notes as you need to. The number one most important thing for your career, for your future, for your ability to stay healthy and execute is your health. The name of the business, the name of the company is Healthy Velo. It's health first with everything we do. So number 1, health. And I want you to understand what it takes to optimize your health. We're talking about optimization today. We're going to look at 2 different areas. Number 1, your health. Number 2, your power. And we're going to look to see if one, you're even taking advantage of that at all, if it's a part of your current program or not. And if it is or isn't, how we can then optimize it. So the first one is your health. Very simply, we're looking at food, sleep, and water. I'm going to sip mine while you sip yours. If you don't have your water with you, go grab it. If you don't have enough food, sleep, and water, you will not, guaranteed, you will not optimally put or perform at your best. You cannot perform at your best. Your body is like a phone battery. If your phone is out of battery, it's dead. If your phone is low on battery or overheating, oftentimes it will not operate as well as it could. And your body works the same way. So we have to plug that thing in. And we plug that thing in by giving our body more energy, which is food, sleep, and water. So what does that look like? Well, your homework for today, and go ahead and write this down, is you're going to start tracking your food, your sleep, and your water. And this does not need to be something that's terribly difficult, because of what I've learned in a decade and a half of doing this with both athletes and then in a previous life as a health coach working with adults. Regardless of age, it's very rare that you can sustain long-term goals or achievements or momentum if you get way, way, way too difficult and way too in the weeds and abstract and too many things. So we're going to keep this very simple. Food first. Your goal for food, if you need to pause this, go ahead and pause it. Your goal for food is 3 meals and 2 snacks. That's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a complete snack in between. That is the very basics. If you're not even at 3 meals yet, that's fine. Start trying to get 3 meals and then add from there. But 3 meals and 2 snacks will get you much closer to what you probably need just to stay where you are. Because most guys are surprised when they look at like online calorie calculators and they put in all their numbers to see how much they need. They're like, holy crap, I need to eat a lot more food and I probably need to eat a lot more often. And how do we get there? It's by starting to eat more often. Very simple. 3 and 2 as often as you can. If you can't do it and you say it's difficult, well, that's okay, except you're not going to optimally perform. You're not going to perform at your best. You're not going to recover at your best, and you're not going to throw harder. That's just black and white the way it is. Now, you can go the quick route. You can skip right to some other velo program that this is not, you can skip to some type of throwdown or pull down program or weighted ball program, and you can force the issue while ignoring the foundations. And let me know how that goes for you. Because we have hundreds of people that reach out every single week that are hurt because they went that route, and they want to start with how it's going to keep them healthy. So, food, 3 meals, 2 snacks. Sleep. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what the recommended number of hours of sleep is for the average person? If you said 8 hours, you're right. And I want to add some context. The average person is probably about 45 years old, if you think about like old and young people. The average person sits at a desk, and the average person who's 45 sitting at a desk does not exercise. So ask yourself, are you anywhere near the average person in age or activity level? The answer is no. So you shouldn't be anywhere near the sleep recommendation. So the recommendation is 9 or 10 hours of sleep every single night, as much as humanly possible. And if you say, oh, Scott, that's just really difficult. Yeah, well, I didn't say it was going to be easy. It's very simple. 9 or 10 hours of sleep. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but that's the goal. When you say it's difficult, okay. So what are you prioritizing? Your goal, your vision, your dream, or everything else? Because it's easy to stay up late because, I got to study and I didn't prioritize getting studying time in before. Oh, I got to go work. Oh, I got to do these other things. Okay, but guess what? If you had a goal, a vision, and a dream, you would then know how to accommodate everything else. You wouldn't work certain hours and certain schedules. You wouldn't take certain jobs. You wouldn't take your study time and put it at the end of the day if you knew that you weren't going to be able to get enough sleep, and you would adjust these things because you have the goal, the vision, and the dream from the first video. So that's why we start there. So food, 3 and 2. Sleep, 9 or 10. If you want to feel better than you've literally ever have, you want to get rid of dead arm, you want a potential velo bump within the next couple of days or couple of weeks, you want to be more alert day to day, normal, like when you wake up where you don't need caffeine, get yourself 9 or 10 hours of sleep on a daily basis, and you'll be amazed at the results that you'll start to get. Because it's not unheard of. I can't tell you how many guys, I can probably show you, I've got hundreds of screenshots from guys in our programs that are getting results just from increasing their food and their sleep. And lastly, water. Cheers. You're going to increase your water. This right here is 32 ounces. The average recommendation for the average person is 64 ounces. You and I both know you are not anywhere near the average person. But heaven forbid you're below 64 ounces, then that's a great place for most people to start. A lot of people will shoot for 96, 100, 128, which is a gallon. Any of those is a good goal. Generally speaking, though, just drink more. The more you drink, the more hydrated you'll feel. The more you eat, the better you'll feel. The more sleep you get, the better you'll feel, and the better you'll recover. Because at night is when you recover most. And if you're not getting enough sleep with enough fuel, you won't recover as well. You won't be able to perform that next day as well as the day before. And it repeats and it gets worse. So if you think about it, let's do a visual for you real quick. Let's look at different days of the week. So let's say here's, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's say foods, sleep, water, total 3 points. Let's say you do really well on Monday with all 3 of those. Guess what? You're going to wake up on Tuesday feeling great. But then on Tuesday, you only get 2 of those. Guess what? You're probably only going to feel like a 2 on Wednesday. And if you get only 2 of those on Wednesday, you're probably going to feel, honestly, more like a 1.5. And if you try to overcompensate and get 2 or 3 on that day, maybe that gets you back up to a 2. And then you're busy on Friday because you go out with your friends, you stay up late and everything else, and you're a 1. Now you drop to a 1. And guess what usually happens on Saturdays across the country for most pitchers? This is game day. And this ain't it. But this is a normal week. This right here is a normal week where guys don't get enough food, sleep, or water repeatedly throughout the week. And they wonder right here why when they came out of the pen, they didn't feel as good. Oh, maybe it was just an off game, an off outing. Maybe the umpire was terrible. Maybe my defense wasn't good. But it's these things that lead to that. And then you try to course correct a little bit, and it gets you feeling a little bit better. But then you have a terrible Friday night. You end up where you're supposed to start on Saturday, and you're crossing your fingers saying, you know what, it's not going to happen twice in a row. Clearly, Thursday isn't going to happen again. This is going to be my game. It's my day. I'm better on Saturdays. And you pitch terribly. The reason is because your food, your sleep, and your water consistently throughout the week was not at a point where you were able to optimally perform and optimally recover. That's black and white. That's data. That's just facts. As a matter of fact, your water alone, if we just look at water, check this out. Your water, let's see if we can erase this. There's actually a study done with runners, and they said that runners, oops, of course it didn't erase. It said that runners, if they were dehydrated at severe levels of dehydration, guess what could happen? As much as 10% of their energy output could be decreased. Meaning, if they normally run a 30-minute race, they could lose as much as 10% of their time due to severe levels of dehydration, which means instead of being 30 minutes, now, because they were severely dehydrated, they could be at 33 minutes. And that is a gigantic difference. Now, how does this relate to baseball? Well, let's think about it. If I throw 100 miles per hour and I lose 10% of my output, my ability to input energy into the ball and force into the ball, you know what 10% of 100 is? That's 10 miles per hour. So that puts you down to 90 miles per hour. And guess what? You're actually never going to see this happen. When guys are severely dehydrated, you want to know what actually happens? They throw 97 miles per hour. They think the radar gun's off. They think maybe they just didn't have it that day. Maybe they didn't eat that well. Maybe they didn't sleep that well. But again, it's the culmination effect and the snowball effect of not enough food, sleep, and water. And then they only see a little bit of a dip because the mind knows the radar gun is supposed to say a certain number. When you don't see that number or it doesn't feel like it's coming out that hot, guess what you do? And pitchers have been doing this for a century. When your food, sleep, and water are not where they need to be, you try to grunt. You try to throw harder. You try to use different pieces of your body and different parts of your body to throw harder to get a better result because you apparently just don't have it today. And guess what happens? Stress on your elbow, your back, your shoulder, your groin, your glute, all these different areas start to have a ton more stress on them. And when you do this repeatedly, this is where injuries can come from. So take care of your health. And let's go ahead and finish up by talking about power. So if you guys have never looked at power, you want to have power in your routines. And your routines consist of, from a strength standpoint, I'll show you. Let's just kind of break it down here. So you know how to improve and have power in your workout routines. Yes, you need recovery, food, sleep, and water. Yes, you need to feel good. You need to be warmed up and all that stuff. But you need a combination of, which makes power, strength, plus speed. So if you're doing really, really heavy lifts and it looks like a football workout, that's not bad, believe it or not. Yes, we want to be safe and make sure we're not doing things that are too crazy or too stressful and if we're not ready for them and we need a really good coach. But deadlift, bench press, squat, those aren't inherently bad exercises. You need the necessary strength to be able to impart and input force into the ball. You need to be able to have strength. If you can't lift 100 pounds when you squat, or 200 pounds, or 300 pounds, or 400 pounds when you squat, your ability to move explosively with that adequate strength just isn't there. Do you need to squat 800 pounds? No. There is a threshold, but you need to be squatting. You need to be doing single leg work. You need to have the ability. If you look at the best guys in the game, they are built like brick houses. They might look different. Some are leaner, some are bulkier, and that comes from how you train, but they have an adequate amount of strength because they consistently exercise. And there's the strength component, which is your heavier lifts, which is your standard lifts, which is, an 8 to 10, a 10 to 12 range with your lifts. And then we need speed. If we want to go, I don't care what you're doing, 3 to 5, 8 to 10, 10 to 12 for your rep scheme for strength, it doesn't really matter. Just be doing it and doing it consistently. Make sure you're doing things like single leg work, and then start to introduce speed. That's med ball work. That's plyometric jumps and hops and lateral movement and broad jumps, anything like that. If it's not already in your program, implement it. So lift heavy things, do fast things so you can train speed, so you teach your mind and your body how to move really, really fast. And then the other piece is with your strength, make sure you're doing that through a full range of motion. Meaning, when you're squatting, you might need to loosen up or lighten up the load, and occasionally or always go through a deeper range of motion, a deeper squat. When you're doing, a shoulder press with even a dumbbell, going all the way down through a full range of motion with good posture so we can get back here and really stretch the joint. And if we're really going to do that and be safe about it, obviously we want to be healthy, then we need to be doing it with a smart amount of weight. Obviously, make sure you guys are working with a trained and certified strength and conditioning coach of some kind or personal trainer so that you can get this going optimally and safely. But if you've got the strength and you've got the speed, that's where your power's going to come from. Ain't no dog ever been without power. That was a dog. Got it? All right, we'll see you in day 3.